Hello and welcome. Today I just felt inspired and thought I'd talk about some piercings. So I'm going to talk about just a few piercings that I've had that I semi-regret. So to start with, I'm going to go with the very obvious one if you've watched some of my other videos. It is my Snug. So I regret that because it's still getting inflamed, still not settling, still not healing. I've had an on-off relationship for it for the last like 2.5, 3 years. It's just doing my head in. I'm currently on a course of antibiotics for it, and I'm currently seeing how that's going. It's alright, it's actually clearing up for the first time in a very long time. So that is a massive relief. I went professionally to get it done, and yeah, I don't know, it's just caused more grief than is worth it, I'm not gonna lie. Like, it doesn't make me feel good, it doesn't look good right now. Well, it hasn't looked good in a long time. I'll show a picture of when it did, and then you can probably see now how disgustingly thick that side is compared to this side. I did, in fact, stupidly see a friend in secondary school get it done. Hers got infected, inflamed, it blew up, it was really red, really sore, and she had to have it taken out. And I still went ahead, stupidly enough, and got mine done like a year or two later with that story in mind. So yeah, it's my own fault, like I fully accept it. It's also my own fault that I didn't get it sorted out sooner. I just was trying to handle it myself because I was like, well, normally I can handle it myself, but whew, this is just a hell of a pain to sort out. My Conch, same woman did it, which is interesting because they're my two trouble piercings, and I don't regret that one. That one actually, for the last 2.5 years, has been fine. It was only when I went on holiday and I think maybe the pool or the seawater or just something about being on holiday made it, you know, I might have bashed it. Don't really know. I went to a water park, could have been that, stupidly enough. Could have hit my head or something, which I probably did quite a lot on the slides. And yeah, so it's got a keloid, which is a bit of trauma, but I know I've had keloids before, I can get rid of them. I had it on my scaffolding, so I'm quite sure that that's going to be okay, so I don't regret that. Oh, probably second would be doing my first belly piercing myself. So I've got quite a small belly button, and I've got a video actually from 3 years ago. I'll put some kind of image here. If you'd like to check young me out talking about my double belly piercing, then there's the video. So my first piercing that I did got ripped out. So as you can see, there is actually not that much room. Yeah, I think the first time, because it didn't go through enough skin and it was very early on in my piercing days, I kind of messed it up. And then I was like, nah, I'm not gonna have a top belly piercing for a good few years, and then I finally had the courage to, so yeah, that one definitely was a bit of a pain for a while, but in the end it was actually worth it, and I don't regret it. It was just the first time I really regretted it. So that was when I was about probably 14 that I had it done again, and the first time was when I was probably about 12. My next piercing that I regret a tiny bit is my nip naps. So I had my nipples done, and actually I am planning to, at the end of this 2-week antibiotic period, take them out. I will show some clips actually from a video that is now private about me talking about my nipple piercings. I took it down just because this was like 4 years ago now, and I just feel like it was too much information. It was too detailed about my experience, and I wasn't really comfortable in the end with having it up. So that was just me changing my mind like a year ago and going, actually, I'll make an update video, talk to people about it, and, you know, that'll be better. I literally just went today. This is going to be quite good for me to give my initial thoughts on how I felt it went. My initial kind of reaction to it was, I've had quite a few piercings, and I'd probably rate it about, I know I've seen people give it like 6 and stuff, but I don't actually think it's that bad. I would give it like a 4. Compared to what I've experienced, I found my ears probably worse, some of them, like the cartilage ones, like my Snug. That was dreadful for me. It was a weird sensation. It was like a sharp pinch, and it was very sharp. It just, for a second, it's quite quick, and then it's just putting the bar through, They weren't that painful for me. I probably said it in the video. They weren't that painful, and you know, it was really quick and easy. It healed fine. Yeah, I stand by a lot of what I said about, like, I definitely think it's worth it if you like them. I found that for years they were fine when I was slightly smaller, but especially the last year or two, I've filled out a bit more, especially during quarantine. I've put on a little bit of weight, and that has not been so helpful. Warning, if you do not like gross things, do not watch the next bit. So I had a bit of an incident. They were fine for years and years. I had one of which I could never undo. I literally, last Friday, with 2 pairs of pliers, that's what it took in the end, managed to undo it. I tried using fabric to, you know, help grip. I tried using gloves. I tried getting piercing pliers. I've got them hanging around somewhere. I got someone else to help. You know, I tried everything. I just could not get it undone. Because I bought things, this, you know, little things that I could wear that I've never been able to wear. And, you know, I'm selling quite a lot of them now. Check my Depop out because there's lots of brand new things that have never been worn that were worth a lot of money. If you want to skip the next bit because of the trigger warning, I will put a little time code that you can skip to the next one. Yeah. So for the last 4 years, I haven't been able to change them or take them out, and one of them got ripped, and it was the most horrific experience in my life. So wearing a bralette was like, oh, this is cute, like, you know, just nice little Victoria's Secret lounge one that you just go around the house in when it's hot. And can't really remember what happened, but it got caught, I didn't notice, half sticking out. Plasters on repeat just to keep it down so it'd heal. That's why I was saying, big warning if you don't like this kind of thing. I'm not going to go into too much more detail because that's what I did in the other video and I wasn't okay with it. So, horror story out there, that's what happened. So yeah, as much as I was in love with them at the time, now, well, especially at that moment, I was like, I just want to take this piercing out. I just want to get them out. And it was so sore and so painful. They're still healing now because nipple piercings take quite a long time to heal. So this was a big problem with, I let them heal, I wanted to change them, couldn't change them, one was stuck. And then one rips and it was the one that I can't undo that ripped. And after all this time, I'm gonna have to say goodbye. As much as I love them, they're just an inconvenience. And sadly, it's not one of those piercings that you just have photos of and, you know, that you can just be like, oh, I remember that time when I had these. Oh, isn't it pretty? I don't have that. I can't really... Once they're gone, I'm just going to be like, well, I've got scars. That's kind of it. So, as much as I loved them, I also probably regret them the most. The most pain for, like, not severe pain, but just over a long period of time of just relentless problems. Can't wear cute things because they'll get caught. It's amazing what you actually can't wear because of it. So I'm going to be very relieved when I just don't have to worry when I get out the shower, worry when I put clothes on, worry when I put a bralette on that doesn't have a zip or any kind of thing that you have to put over this way. Actually being able to wear nice clothes and not have that stress. Oh yeah. Sorry, I went on a bit of a tangent there. I apologise if I traumatised anyone. So my next piercing that I regret is my dermals, because so I don't know if my dermal story is still up. I made a video on it. If you'd like me to go into more detail and make a remake of that video or use clips of that video to make a new video, I would happily do it. My dermals have a long story behind them. To keep it short, I got them done. I asked for skin divers, okay? I was like, I want a skin diver, I want a flat plate here. I don't want the ones with holes in. I want flat plates here, don't want the ones with holes in. What do I find out when it's time for them to go? Yeah, they got holes in. So the skin grew through and they were just hanging off when my body started to reject them, because on the whole your body can either get on well with them or it can just reject them, and mine started to reject them. And yeah, so I was a bit annoyed at that. They were really super pretty, I loved them so much. I miss them now. I've got little scars from them. I'm always like, I wish I could have them back, but the trauma of getting them out, because they weren't the ones I asked for, was just so stressful. That process probably comes second to the nipple piercings for like longest period of time in pain, putting plasters over them so they don't get snagged, because there's not much you can do when half of it's out and half of it's in and it's two different bits. It's like, it's stressful. And like, I could have probably gone professionally to get them out, but they almost looked like they were going to heal on their own, so I kind of waited. And I'm quite brave, and I just kind of power through, and I'm like, yeah, it'll be fine. And actually, a little bit stupid, I'm not gonna lie, a little bit stupid. But yeah, I loved them, but there's also a little bit of regret. So, another piercing of which I regret is my traffic light tongue piercing when I had that. So, the piercer pierced it wonky, I have a whole video on that. And basically, first piercing, straight. Second piercing, slightly on an angle. Third piercing was like complete diagonal. Have a scar where if you look at it, yeah, it comes out there. So it was like straight-ish on the top, but you could tell. I couldn't close my mouth, I was dribbling, it was a mess. It was a mess. If you want to hear more about that, I'll do a story on that. But yeah, definitely regretted. Painful, not worth the money in the end. Looked cool for the however long I had it. Had it for about a year maybe, a year and a half. But I just couldn't power through that one, if I'm honest. Like, it looked amazing and I would love to have it now, but not worth it. So definitely one of the ones that I've talked about before is my Smiley piercing. And I mean, I have a video on that if you'd like to check it out. It's from 3 years ago again. And it just talks about how it was pierced with a bar that was too big when it was already very thin. It was pierced with like a 1.6, maybe even like a 2. I think I have the bar here. Yeah, so I do actually have the bar. This is the bar, excuse my chipped nail polish. So that is that bar. This is a regular bar. So as you can see, yeah, way too big. I kept it. Always got to keep these things. And so it ripped and it came out. I loved it. It wasn't painful, but I just regret the fact that I didn't check what they were, I don't know, it's not really my fault. I regret them being stupid enough to put a 1.6 in here, because they were like, oh, you've got a very thin Smiley, and then obviously just grabbed whatever was next to them and whacked it through. Yeah. Didn't appreciate that, because I liked it. I will put a photo up here somewhere. So I'll kind of round off the video with something that I'm going to be following up soon. The last thing I semi-regret. I do not fully regret this, but for my line of work, it will be better if I can fix this. So my ears. So I have stretchers, as you can see, and they used to be 28/ for like a couple of weeks, 30mm photo. And basically, as much as I loved them, I loved buying all the plugs, I loved buying all the designs, I just went too big and I was too young, I think. I love them and I would love to keep them now, but just for my work, I think I'm gonna either have to go really tiny if I can, which I'm hoping, or get rid of them. So the plan to go as small as possible is going well so far. So as you can see, this one isn't necessarily the best. It's got a couple of gaps either side, and that is a 10. However, this side, yeah, as you can see, it's quite good with the fact that it is a 10 with that wooden plug. And I've got a 4 above it. Yeah. So I'd love to, if I can get that down to like maybe a bit less, then it will be okay and I'll work it out. So I in fact got rid of most of my plugs. A lot of them broke, a lot of them I just threw out or binned, but just to give you a bit of a size comparison, this is a 28 and this here is a 10. So as you can see, where is best to put them? There. That, like, is so small. Go a bit closer. There we go. So my ears were like that, and well, in fact, they were bigger. Yeah, so that was the bigger size. Yeah. And, well, yeah, we'll put those next to each other. Funny. I think that's either the 28 or the 3rd. I think that's the 28. And basically, I've looked into the fact that you can get surgery. Ooh, I just don't want to go through that, if I'm honest. I want to try and avoid that as much as possible. Trigger warning, just gonna talk about the procedure for like 10 seconds. I do know that it's not that bad. If you can just get the inside removed, that's fine. I don't want the bit where they take a chunk out. That is not what I'm here for. But yeah, so basically I'm just trying to avoid that as much as possible. Do it myself, shrink them, which this side has gone well. This side, not so much. I mean, it did split into a piercing, and that's why it's a bit bigger. Fun. But basically, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do an up-to-date downsizing my piercing video. I've got one that will be linked down below that I did, 3 years ago, maybe even 4, and hopefully that'll be useful. So I just want to round the video off by saying thank you so much for even watching this and for listening to me. I hope it was entertaining or informative or anything like that. I just do these purely because I just want to talk about my experiences and just put my knowledge out there that I've gone through these bad things. Hopefully this can inform you of whether you do or don't want to do them. I mean, I didn't even take the advice of my friends when they got piercings that went wrong. But yeah, hopefully it's not that bad for you, and hopefully you have some lovely, wonderful piercings that you love. Hopefully see you in the next video. Goodbye.